recording has started. Oh, we're going to call the meeting to the Clinton Variance Commission Zoning and Variance Committee to order. Oops, we turn this on. There we go. Any objections to the agenda? Good. As to the draft minutes, there was one change I saw that one. I thought I had these up. Sorry about that. Draft minutes here. We've got draft minutes. On the second item, the first item, there was no increased height of the detached garage, was not a request.
Oh, okay. Update that.
Yeah. Thank you for getting the minutes done. That's the first mistake we've caught in how many times?
I know. You're awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Seriously.
Yes, that's example when a mistake actually shows how much care you show for things. Thank you. With that one change, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Second, okay. Then, I don't see. Diane?
Yes, sir.
Yes, is that a yes?
Yes.
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 The chair votes yes as well, approved 6-0 with the one change. Now, moving on to, our one item on our variance agenda is at Broadmeadow Boulevard, to provide a dumpster with an enclosure for a multi-unit apartment property that seeks variances from 133 from the dumpster area to reduce the required setback for the dumpster, and enclosure from 25 feet to 10 feet from the right of way, and introduce the maneuvering area for the garbage truck from 20 to 14.78 feet. If you want, you can stand. If you want, you can come sit. Your choice.
Stand up here. Guess I don't need that.
You do not have to make sure you're in the video.
Okay. So the biggest thing with this property is there are 8 units on one parcel. So unfortunately, there is not a dumpster location in the site plan currently, and we are also too large to allow for 90-gallon individual cans. So our current options are to put in a dumpster pad and make it serviceable. The only area available is in front of that building at 264.
Yes, the property is this is the property, and you're putting it.
Yes, sir.
262 in the back. You want to put it here?
Yes, sir. It'll be over to the right a bit towards the parking lot there. Yes. So there's currently a tree. That tree would be removed, and then the garbage truck will be able to back into that lot, pull up to dump the trash, and then pull back out onto the road. And there's the. We also had a roll-off dumpster in the back of the parking lot at one point, and we were sided with the zoning committee, or the zoning department in the city of Columbus at that time, because that wasn't within the site plans, which is when we learned that there was no trash location for this property.
There you go. Start the questions up. Why can't you move a couple of these parking spaces up here? Put it back here.
So it wouldn't be accessible because the garbage truck cannot back into the roadway. So with the limitations between the buildings as well as the adjacent property, it has to be to where they can back into the parking lot, pull up to the dumpsters, and then drive straight and forward back onto the roadway.
So there's not enough space to put it here and they can't back up.
Mm-hmm. There's only about 15 foot between the back of the parking spots and the neighboring property.
Did send these out a day or two early and have not heard back. Temporary appealing was. There's a lot of rental properties around there.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of enclosure are you looking for around it?
So it'll have 3 stable sides, and then it will also have 2 gates on the front that swing 90 degrees.
How tall are these?
So they will be 6 foot.
dumpster is about, how tall is the dumpster?
It's about 5, so it would still cover and enclose that.
Okay.
And then there's a fenced in bulk pickup area as well to eliminate any, loose trash. And keep it contained as well, which would also be serviced by the city of Columbus.
This is City of Columbus.
Yes,
The city says they can service this?
yes.
Okay, and sorry for taking over questioning at the beginning. I think I'll do a few clarifying questions to get started. Questions from the committee?
You said that you couldn't use 90-gallon, the typical 90-gallon. What about the 300?
They did not allow for that either. They said anything with over 4 units on one parcel had to have a large dumpster. And it has to be 1/3 of a cubic foot per unit. So this one will have a 5 cubic foot dumpster.
What do the tenants currently do with their trash?
We have actually purchased in-house trash cans, like, from Lowe's. And we have a junk haul away company that services it once a week because, again, with the limitations, we can't have any kind of individual cans with regular service, whether that's a private or the city of Columbus.
And they've owned this property since 2018, so they've been doing it for,
We did have a roll-off dumpster until earlier of 2024, about February time, when we received a follow-up citation saying, hey, you're going to get a fine if you don't remove this roll-off dumpster. So we removed that and then started the process with the city of Columbus. We were told originally that we could have 90-gallon cans because there's only 4 units per building, but since it's all on one parcel, they consider it an 8-unit complex. I know.
Okay.
There's a lot of money into this project that I wish we could be saving the owner and go a simpler route.
so currently the owners pay a private company to take the trash away?
Yep.
And then, that 6-foot screening around the dumpster, what is that material?
So it will be the fencing material still, so it'll be wood picket fence style, to fully enclose it. The city of Columbus wants it noted as screening, meaning that it will be able to swing on a gate.
Have the property owners thought about planting some shrubbery around it, like boxwood or something like that? I mean,
So on the edge of the property, it does have bushes lining the front and the side that would enclose that, but we could certainly look at that as well about putting it closer to the dumpster to really kind of hide that area.
right, because you are taking down a tree,
Yes,
and we should replace it if we can, and that way it would be a little bit nicer because it's sitting out by the road.
Mhm.
And you go up and down the street, no one else has a dumpster sitting out by the road.
Good. Go back to this map. The other apartments have the same problem?
so the other ones, in the area are fourplexes. So 272 to 284 Broadmeadows there on the left, they have 2 small rolling dumpsters behind the back buildings.
So these are 4 units per building and these are 2 units per building.
Those are 4 units per building as well, so they require a dumpster, as well. They just have 2 rolling dumpsters behind the buildings that they're able to have pulled out down the sidewalk in between the buildings.
I see it.
Yeah, why are they gonna
Why would they allow to do that?
I don't know that that's the way that it should be.
Well, where was your roll dumpster? Was it?
It was in the back of the parking lot closest to 262. So where like that last parking spot was in the drawing, it was right behind that area.
So they may not, maybe the reason they haven't cited is they can't see it, the city inspectors can't see it. That one of these days.
Yeah,
Yeah, normally when they do citations, they look around just to make other citations, but they also don't go, they say at least they don't go on private property.
there was a city code call, Act 264, which I think is what initially started this. They were there for overgrown shrubbery, and then when they're out there, they find anything and everything they can, so that's when the dumpster started as well.
When was this building erected? How old is the bill off the top of my head? I think it wasn't, interesting that it wasn't that way.
Well, when we originally started this, code enforcement actually told me to go down to the building and zoning office and get the site plan and see where the dumpster was supposed to be and place it there.
Okay.
And then when I went down there, they're like, there isn't a site plan for it, so that's what started our
Journey.
journey.
1959.
Before the current zoning town.
Before it was in the city. That was in the city.
That wasn't in the city.
Was it township then?
Oh, yeah.
Until 1954, the city limits was Morse Road.
Before that, it was my backyard.
Okay, any questions? Any
Was there
questions?
really?
My property line was.
Any questions from the committee before we give Ms. Simbro a chance?
This reminds me very much the maneuvering situation. If you remember the dumpster behind Catalina's, that parking lot, and that is like literally on the alley, and it has to do with the way the maneuvering, and they have to be able to pull in and drive out. You can't be backing up. Well, for one thing, drives the neighbors nuts when it goes beep, 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 beep. But maneuvering thing, I do think that the city, for some reason, is being irrational about this. Like the 90, there should be a less intrusive solution, but that's not the applicant's problem. That's a city problem. That's a resident problem. We need to complain about it. But like I said, this is very, very much like behind Catalina's. It's just Catalina's happens to be on an alley, a very busy alley, but
Now, since everyone in the, the entire public attendance has now had a chance to comment. And so now it comes back to the committee and the chair.
We have a commissioner report.
No. No,
whose district is this?
this is Drew's, I believe. This is, the chair puts a motion to approve as submitted on the table for discussion. Is there any discussion?
I would like additional shrubbery. I know it can't be a condition, I don't believe, but I would like assurances that that's your intention.
Certainly.
Because it's so close to the road, it needs to be an enhancement, not a distraction.
Yes.
So it just has to look good. You know, I want to save the property owner some money from a private trash collection. You know, so just make it look nice.
And that is, when you go to the commission, I'll do a brief talk and then you'll get the floor. If I don't get into my talk, I would suggest explaining why you can't put it further back. They're gonna wanna know that anyway. If they don't hear that in advance, they're gonna ask. People don't want a dumpster close to the street. And do we have any other comment before we vote? Okay, start with Michael.
Yes.
Yes.
I say go ahead.
Yes.
The chair votes yes, so it's recommended approval 6-0. I thank you for all your work on this. Let's see, when does this go to the committee? I wanna make sure I get it right, because I put it in the agenda, but the commission meeting is a week later. Make sure your planner knows that if you wanna get on the BZA January agenda. Maybe they'll still let you do it if they know it's coming up for a vote.
I've been in communications with them recently because they met on the 5th of December about it. So then for the city of Columbus, anyways, that you're referencing, or because we have the notated for January 9th as well.
For us.
Yes.
But then the final decision is BZA, and they meet like the third Tuesday of the month. And normally, to get on their agenda, you would need a decision
Yeah, I had
under normal time.
Okay, they just told me that I had to have it all submitted by, there was a certain date in December that it had to be submitted by, and it was submitted in November to be on that January.
Sometimes they actually will not schedule it unless you have an area commission recommendation.
Okay, so I'll reach out to him.
Maybe just make sure that, and that's why I sent that email before saying this isn't your fault, but it's not gonna happen until the 9th. The commission took responsibility at the last meeting. They did a poll and discovered if they met on January 2nd, they would not have a quorum. So they decided, let's just go to the 9th. Okay, well, that's the procedural. I'm sorry it's taken so long. You just barely missed our last cutoff. And hopefully you don't just barely miss this BZA cutoff.
Question, at one time when we ran into scheduling issues like this, I believe as long as they got a, maybe not official, but if on Friday morning, no, January 10th, they got an email saying approval forthcoming, so they could be sure.
We almost always get that. The commission has been very good at getting them out like the next day.
Okay, just so, because I think you're right, I think it's the next Tuesday what is that, 14th or whatever,
Yeah,
is the BZA meeting. So you don't wanna miss that.
Okay.
okay.
Suck up to it.
We don't want, we try not to be a hoop. So thank you very much for your time. If you want to listen to us discuss having some organizational discussion, you can do that. Otherwise, you're free to go.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this, and sorry you have to go through all that.
Yeah.
Just, our current committee, all of you are on the committee through January the 29th meeting. Normally what would happen is that, what does happen is at the January commission meeting, they pick their chair. Then that chair picks the zoning chair and a few others. And just once he or she sends out the email, that person is the chair. And then we need to start the selection process for the committee, and they vote on it. The commission votes on a slate at the beginning of their February meeting. But this is more of a crunch than usual. What I have to do is get to them a proposal at their meeting that they vote on, for this is how they replace it. Replace the committee. Watch for emails after the 9th. It probably will be almost exactly like it was last year with the short bio. It's just one thing the commissioners want to make sure, they want to know who they're voting for. They want to at least have some idea. They don't like that. The Commissioner Weinman is the one who brought this up, that it's kind of pointless to vote on a list of names if they have no idea who it is. But watch that. I will work to get, if I am selected as chair, I will get that out right away. And I will also send you whatever I send the commission so that you can do it. So you can get to pay attention to that. And if you have any questions, you all have my cell phone number. If it gets to if it's even the weekend after the commission meeting, feel free to call me and say what's going on if you haven't heard from me. But I hopefully will not make that happen. So the screening forms, all I can say is they agreed with you, Gretchen, about trying to keep it simple, about not putting utility stuff in there. So I don't know if we want to just create new forms that don't have the utility.
I can certainly remove those questions off of there. I know it was a bit much, but
no, it is easier.
Question that comes up enough, so.
No, it is easier for someone looking at your work to delete than it is to add.
Very true.
And so I would, as someone who has other people look over
Did
my
they have any other?
that was it.
That was it.
I think they appreciated having it. So I think, do we agree that, we agree that there should be that this should be a separate category, that this isn't that ADU isn't multifamily, it isn't residential, it's a third category?
I think it is separate, as it's not multifamily. You're putting 2 dwelling units on a lot, which is distinctly different as far as code is concerned.
and maybe just,
I think we kind of have, this is a new territory for us, and none of our other slots fit. And so I think we had to sort of come up with something new, so yeah.
I think then just take the residential form and add the other AD, the couple AD, I can't, what were the questions we added to that?
We added questions on, structure of the
It was square footage,
square footage, height.
height and setbacks.
Yeah, they thought that made sense because you want to see, you need to know the proportion, if they're asking for a variance, knowing the proportions is fair.
Yeah, I think we focused, at least if we remove the utilities, the focus of the form would be square footage, dimensions, height, setbacks, which are always
Amenities and
questions.
parking, right?
Yeah, so we could,
So all of the auxiliary unit utility stuff is out,
yeah, that goes away.
too. And then that leaves the unit amenities and parking, setbacks, height, and square footage. Is that right?
That sounds correct.
Yeah,
I
sounds
think-
good.
I think that's a good start. Obviously, as we utilize this form, we can see if there are other things that we'd like to add in the future. This is by no means would be a final permanent version of it. So,
Well, I think they're always subject to change, but maybe if you could get something like that to me by like the beginning of the year, that
Yeah,
way the commissioners have a chance to look at it. I will turn around, email you the screening form from them. They said they emailed it to me, I don't remember that, but I will, if I have that, I'll give it to you, otherwise just take a picture of
So you
this.
basically have 3 categories.
correct. We have construction, amenities, and parking.
I think we can, need it just, the only thing we have to change in all the forms is the neighborhood, link to the neighborhood plan, or maybe we just tell them Google it. Because the city moves it, or, I could upload it to MailChimp, but then that's, who knows what about MailChimp
Expired.
That, I don't think, I've never found one of those expired, but they could, and then, I think that's it then. I'm sorry that things are gonna be a little more crunched this year. But the meeting, our next meeting is January 29th. The commission's is the 9th. So if you haven't heard from me by the 11th or 12th, feel free to bug me, but I'll have to send that out to everyone on my email list too. So we will make sure that everyone gets a copy, everyone gets.
Before we adjourn, did you guys get more guidance about the ADUs? I thought you said somebody was coming to the
Oh,
CAC.
yeah, they did, and it was, I'm trying to remember exactly, it was, there is, first, a carriage house is not a thing. That's a realtor's term. That's not a legal term, it has no, so if someone says carriage house, they're making a personal opinion of it. The city has no such thing as a carriage, so I don't know, what's that beeping? Is that my? It's my AirTag saying that it wants to be replaced. Let's see about that. Let's see if I.
Celebrezzi had 2 definitions for your review. Celebrezzi is the one that spoke to the commission. May I speak, Chair?
Go ahead.
Is it okay if I interrupt you?
Okay, if you have notes of it, that would be better.
A garage with water and electric but no kitchen, habitable space. That equals habitable space.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
A garage with water and electricity but no kitchen
No kitchen.
equals habitable space. Habitable space is not the same as an ADU. If it is a garage with water and electric plus cooking, it equals full and complete. Remember how he kept going into that full and complete? Then that would be an ADU. In what we deal with at the area commission level is the use of the property when it comes to building construction. That falls under the Ohio Building Code, that we cannot interject in that, and that came up with the sewer question,
Whether you have to have a sewer.
whether or not, and there's something about a 50-year sewer, blah, blah, blah. So, but those, I made a point of putting a star beside that, because the plus cooking space equals full complete. He kept using that word, that terminology, full complete use.
May I suggest,
So,
go to, after this, when you go home, go to the CAC's YouTube channel and you can scroll forward till you hear Celebrace's speak.
Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry, I should have done that. I
Nope.
didn't know that was
I
an
didn't
option.
do that.
I didn't tell you that was an option. We just,
So,
so I would, my question then would be, we have the ADU that had a kitchenette.
Right.
Now, does that qualify as cooking space?
I think it does, but I tried to remember what, I remember what he said the difference was once it was
What?
full and complete. I
Remind
don't-
me, the one that had the kitchenette, which one was that?
I'm trying to see.
That wasn't Orchard Lane, was it?
It might have been, is
Let me look.
that they had to take the kitchenette out.
Right,
Right, because they had it on the second floor, and so they put in a coffee bar on the first floor with a sink.
I think it was Orchard, they took off, they had something labeled kitchenette, they had to take the label.
Correct.
yeah, it was Orchard.
And I don't remember what the, I do
It
remember what
said,
the,
the
dif-
staff report said delete kitchenette.
I do remember what was the difference once it became a full and complete ADU? I can't remember what it was.
Cooking space.
No, but what changed
Sorry,
in
was
that
it
name?
Erie Road? It was 54 Erie, wasn't it?
But what changed, how does that change what we do? Why do we care that it's full and complete? I'm trying to remember, I
They
need to
called
go
it
back and
accessory
watch it.
dwelling.
Habitable space versus ADU. Habitable space,
And
can,
they
anything with
called it
water
an
and
ADU.
electric is habitable. And that's okay.
And
So the bottom
Oh,
line is,
kitchenette,
you
okay.
give somebody an okay on habitable space,
But not
they put in a
necessary for
microwave
sewer.
and a, induction burner, and they've got
That's
a
not-
full kitchen,
It's,
but it's not legal, but they can do it.
That's
But they
right.
didn't say they were going to.
I don't remember, I thought that there's something with the site plans that they, I need to go back and watch it to remember what that meant. The one thing I also took from it is, there is no, just so you know, when we approve these ADUs, there is nothing that stops the person from using it as an Airbnb if they want to use it as an Airbnb.
And those were both council variances too,
Right.
Erie and Orchard.
so habitable space goes to the BZA and ADU goes to city council.
But habitable space, yeah.
Well,
I think maybe
Is that
that's a
right?
full and complete, I have to go back, you know, I need to go re-listen to that.
because Erie,
I think he may actually do a training just on this.
really,
Be a good idea.
that would be
I would
helpful.
love that. Because they took off the kitchenette from Orchard, but it was still a council variance. It wasn't a BZA space. Allow
Because it was
habitable
habit-
space within a detached garage, blah, blah, blah. But delete kitchenette.
I think it was deleting it from the
And
second
separate
floor.
sanitary line required. I don't understand. That, I went
You know-
home from that meeting so confused.
And I would, you know, I'm sorry, I did not think in advance to prepare for this, so that I should have remembered that and did not prepare to do it.
I believe the city is still kicking this football back and forth too.
Right.
And I,
According to everybody I've
Yeah,
talked to
we
in the city, this side says this side says this, and this side, oh, let's do that, and it's like, they're going, what are you talking about?
but
Can't do that.
that's what, one thing I did after, there was a city council representative there, and she asked me to send her an email about what I think I was saying, which is just, people have different philosophies about what ADUs should be allowed, what should be allowed, which is fine, but what I really dislike about this is the ad hoc decision-making, is it shouldn't matter whether Michael and Diane are not here for the meeting, that the thing gets approved. And it shouldn't matter whether the critics, that shouldn't,
We shouldn't have to wait for the critic to
There-
say, wait a minute.
but there should be, instead of having everything done, and I think it's utterly ridiculous that city council decides what goes in one person's backyard.
I believe, who was it at the commission meeting brought up something about that Cincinnati
Yeah.
did just pass an ordinance
Limiting Airbnbs.
limiting how the AD, there was some reference to that. You're right, we have to go back and watch that meeting, can't we? And we were both there.
That's why we put them on YouTube, so people can do this, but that's one thing we need to remember is, for as of now, there is no restriction, so if that makes a difference to you, there's nothing we can do about it. Some people that matters, some people it doesn't. As I told, what I put in the vote, told the council representative, not the council member, was that you're more likely to get support the more restrictions you can put on it, the more support you're gonna get. And that's where you wanna go on that line, is a policy decision, but city council is supposed to legislate the big picture. They're not, it's just ridiculous that they care about somebody's backyard, not Orchard Lane, but
Well,
whatever, and Como.
The problem is, as time goes on, we're still dealing with murky language and murky guidance from the city. Things are getting approved or disapproved.
And that's been,
That is gonna change probably at some point, but then there they are, done.
and that's been my concern, just in that I
Right.
think we should have consistency in what we're allowing. And everybody should be treated fairly. We should not be doing a lot of these on an ad hoc individual basis, and
And that's the
that is
position
unfair to the property owners.
Although I think the commission's been approving all or not nearly all of them, so it's, in some ways they have been consistent.
The Erie one?
Yeah, everything, yeah. And
Um,
so, but again, it shouldn't matter whether the Clintonville Area Commission's membership changes in 3 months,
No,
whether you can build.
or hours, right. The guidelines should be clear, and everybody should know what they're voting for.
And if they want to allow ADUs, they should pass a law that
Right.
says you get ADUs and here's what you do. But that was my main message to her, which is please, for God's sake, just give us rules. And it's also like $3,000, I think it's like council rates are like $3,000.
Are they?
Didn't Celebrezzi allude to the fact that this part of the zone in was like still 2 years away or something like that, which shocked me.
Really?
I mean, it was like,
This is what affects, I don't know, I think it may just be, this may be mainly a Clintonville thing with all this garage stuff.
no,
This is
no.
the
I
city
think this is
in
gonna be,
general.
if it isn't already.
It's a nationwide
What-
phenomenon.
What is the market for Airbnbs in Clintonville? Who stays in them?
Oh,
Money.
people have big parties?
Money.
Is there anything besides parties that they're used for?
Football games,
Football
weddings,
Yeah, football games and weddings and golf events, just, yeah,
It's about making money.
yeah.
We had a family member at Riverside who had open heart surgery, so they're out of town moving for a week. They got a dog.
Right.
Okay.
But, near me on Glenmont, he has a pool and, really deep lot and bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, and you name it, and it's really been hard on the neighbors.
Do you know one?
Really hard on.
I know one neighbor who had difficulty with an Airbnb next door, and then they had a wild party where things got damaged. They started getting damaged in the house, and then the Airbnb host asked, "Why didn't you call and tell me? Or why didn't you call and do it?" No, I'm not going to call and do anything about people damaging your property for only parties.
On that side of the road. It's just,
I
I know people who live right over the fence, and it's just been awful, awful.
Which is why I
They
think,
can't be outside in their backyard.
which is, I think it's because an Airbnb changes a neighborhood in a way that a home office doesn't, or a mother-in-law suite doesn't. And that's,
Right.
Yeah, there should be more contracts.
Well, I think the city has done more. That block that's been so badly affected by this I'd said, call the city attorney. He actually came out and had a meeting with them. He's been threatening to take their license, so things are happening, but they've lived with this for a long
he
time.
did say if they don't follow the rules to get the Airbnb license, they have a contacted Airbnb that the city basically calls them.
Right,
They're taken off Airbnb
Right.
instantly.
right.
The city says, this person's doing it, we haven't licensed it, they're gone. Airbnb the company is, they're bad about a lot of things, they're really good about that. And well, do people have other questions before I was gonna try to put the YouTube up there, but YouTube channel up, but my internet connection here is slow. So, do I have any objection to adjourning, not adjourning at 7:35?